All right, let's talk about leadership. What if I told you that one of the biggest myths out there is the idea that great leaders are always consistent? You know, that whole find your style and stick to it advice? Well, what if that's actually wrong? What if it's the very thing holding leaders back? Let's dive in.
So this is the myth right here. The idea that a great leader is always consistent. It's this belief that you just find one perfect style and use it for everything and everyone. I mean, it sounds good, right? It sounds strong and decisive, but in the real world, it's often a recipe for disaster.
So what if the opposite is true? I mean, really think about it. What if the absolute best leaders are more like chameleons? You know, constantly adapting their colors, their approach, to fit the person, the task, the exact moment they're in. Now that is a powerful idea, and it's exactly what we're going to break down today.
Okay, so first up, let's officially bust this myth wide open. It's time to introduce a much smarter, more flexible way to think about leadership. And that framework is called situational leadership. It was developed by two thinkers, Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard. And the logic behind it is actually super simple, but so powerful. Basically, it says there's no single best way to lead. The real magic happens when you match your leadership style to the specific needs of your team right then and there.
All right, so if being adaptable is the name of the game, what exactly are we adapting between? It's a fair question. Well, the model gives us 4 clear, distinct leadership styles to work with. Let's break them down.
Before we get to the 4 styles, you got to understand that everything a leader does can be boiled down to 2 basic things. First, there's task behavior. That's pretty much just how much direction you give, the what and how. Then there's relationship behavior, which is all about how much support you offer. Think of these as 2 dials you can turn up or down. They're the foundation for everything else. So, when you mix and match those 2 behaviors, high or low task, high or low relationship, you get our 4 leadership styles: directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. And the whole point is that a great leader doesn't just pick one and live there. No way. They move between all 4. The mantra you have to remember is simple. Diagnose the situation first, then you act.
Okay, first up is S1, the directing style. This is high on task, low on relationship. Now, low relationship doesn't mean you're being a jerk or unfriendly, not at all. It just means the focus on clarity and instruction. Think about training a brand new employee or handling an emergency. You tell them exactly what to do, how to do it, and you keep a close eye on things. It's all about providing crystal clear direction when it's needed most.
Next up, we have S2, coaching. Now we're turning up both dials, high task and high relationship. You're still giving clear direction, but here's the key difference. You're also explaining the why behind it. You're asking for their ideas, you're encouraging them. This style is perfect for people who are learning and growing, but aren't quite ready to fly solo. You're building their skills and their confidence at the same time.
All right, now we move into S3, the supporting style. And here, the dynamic really shifts. We're dialing the task behavior way down, but keeping the relationship behavior way up. Why? Because the person you're leading now has the skills. They know what to do. They just might be a little hesitant or unsure of themselves. So your job isn't to tell them what to do anymore. It's to be a sounding board, to collaborate, and really empower them to step up and own it. And finally, we have S4, delegating. This is low task and low relationship. And again, this isn't about being checked out or ignoring your team. Far from it. It's actually the ultimate sign of trust. Your team member is a pro. They're skilled, they're motivated, they're self-sufficient. So you just hand over the keys. You give them the responsibility and the freedom to run with it. That's real empowerment.
Okay, so there you have it, the 4 styles: directing, coaching, supporting, delegating. But that brings us to the million-dollar question, right?
How in the world do you know which style to use and when? I mean, having a toolbox is great, but you need to know which tool to pull out. Luckily, the model has a really clear answer for this. And here's the secret sauce. It's all about matching your style to the team's readiness level. It works like this. For an R1, that's someone who's new and maybe a bit unsure, you use S1, directing. For an R2, who's got some experience but is still learning, you use S2, coaching. For an R3, who is totally capable but maybe lacks confidence, you use S3, supporting. And for your rockstar R4, who's an expert and self-motivated, you use S4, delegating. See? It's like a diagnostic map. You figure out where they are, and that tells you exactly what to do. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great in a textbook, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at a couple of incredible examples that show just how powerful this can be. Let's start with Satya Nadella at Microsoft. When he took over, he inherited a company packed with brilliant, capable people, basically a whole lot of R3s. But they were stuck in this rigid, stagnant culture. A lesser leader might have come in with an S1, my way or the highway approach, but not Nadella. He used S2 coaching to explain his new vision and get buy-in, and S3 supporting to empower his talented teams to actually lead the change. The result? A complete cultural transformation that turned Microsoft into the giant it is today.
Or think about someone like Elon Musk, who is a master of shifting styles. When there's a crisis on a Tesla factory floor, he goes into full-on S1 directing mode. He's right there giving specific orders. But then, when he's with his top-tier SpaceX engineers brainstorming new rocket designs, he flips completely. He becomes S3 or S4, supporting their ideas and delegating huge responsibilities. That ability to dance between styles depending on the situation is a huge part of why his companies innovate so fast.
All right, so we've seen the theory, we've seen it in action. Now let's talk about you. How can you actually put this to work? Let's build out your own personal situational playbook.
First things first, you need to know the common traps. So many team problems boil down to a simple mismatch in leadership style. You delegate a huge project to someone who's not ready, they're going to fail and feel terrible. You micromanage a high-performing expert, you're just going to crush their spirit. Both of these mistakes, and so many others, come from one simple thing: a failure to diagnose the situation correctly. So how do you avoid those traps? You have to get good at assessing your team's readiness level for any given task. Just ask yourself these simple questions. Do they have the actual skills to do this? Do they have the confidence to tackle it? Are they willing to take initiative, or are they waiting to be told what to do? Being honest with yourself when you answer these questions, that's probably the most important first step you can take. And this brings us right back to where we started, with that idea of the leader as a behavioral chameleon. And let's be clear, this isn't about being inauthentic or fake. It's about being versatile. It's about having a full range of leadership tools and knowing exactly which one to use to unlock the absolute best in your people. So, if you're going to take away just a few things from all this, let it be these. First, leadership is not a personality, it's a strategy. Second, your ability to adapt isn't just a skill, it's your strongest skill. And finally, never, ever forget the golden rule: diagnose before you direct.
So let's end on this. The goal isn't to be a consistent leader. The goal is to be an appropriate leader. Stop asking, what's my style, and start asking, what does this person in this moment need from me? Because at the end of the day, the only right leadership style is the one that fits the situation you're in.